I'm notoriously someone who doesn't enjoy big moments because I've always been trying to like get to the next level. But for me, yeah, as I told you a minute ago before we started rolling, I grew up in this really small town in Australia. I lived on a farm, so it was about half an hour away from like a petrol station. And yeah, we had one or two TV channels. You had to get a coat hanger to get the reception. We didn't have Wi-Fi or anything like that. And I didn't have music lessons. No one in the town had like regular jobs even. It was like farming kind of community in Australia. It's kind of really hard to explain the difference between agriculture in Australia to here. And it was, yeah, isolated. And so for me, the desire to do an album was born when I was like 4 years old even. Like it was, I always loved music and I always loved art. And ever since I was younger, I would write songs and had this ambition. And I don't know where it came from. My parents aren't in music or anything. I just had a really beautiful relationship with art and music. And I was like, I want to do this body of work. And so I spent a lot of my time making music from that age till now. And it's taken a long time to get here. So I think like getting to this point now or finally getting an album, you know, some people just like, they move to LA and they get it done and it comes out. It hasn't been that story for me. I had to work at a potato farm when I was 8 years old, picking potatoes, to then save up money in the school holidays to buy a secondhand keyboard from the junkyard. And then I had to figure out how to like teach myself music without like any scale system or anything. So I learned completely by ear. And there's been so many, I could tell you 20 years, all of the things that I've overcome to get to this point to do an album, which I'm like proud of, and I'm here and I'm putting it out. So yeah, it feels like I won a Grammy or something because I'm like, I did it, my life plan. So yeah, it feels really good. Heavy metal flower petal. The title came first conceptually for the album, and I felt like it embodied a lot of themes in which I'm about as an artist. Like, as I said, I grew up in nature, away from technology, but I have this desire for technology and innovation as well. And I feel like I'm a really strong person, but I'm a really vulnerable person. And so there's all of these themes that I respond to, but I wanted to make an album that was also about the world now. And it felt like everything's been so violent and harsh and aggressive. And I felt my life had been like that, and I had to be really strong my whole life, that this theme emerged of softness and of like the whisper over the yell. And yeah, I wanted to make something that was about healing pain and transcending that heartache, but without denying the brutality of it. So yeah, it's a lot of themes of that. It's come from a lot of places of my own sorrow and despair, and trying to be a person filled with hope and youth and in my natural state. So it is really deep, and there's so many aspects of it, but I feel like that title really encapsulated the complexity and the emotion of what I want to carry in this next season of my life and what I want to give to the world. I thought, I went through a breakup and moved to LA, and I was like, I'm doing my album and then it'll come out in 2020. And then I was doing some shows in Australia. I came back from LA and did some shows in Australia, and then the world shut down. And I had just been through processing like a lot of really heartache in my life already. And then I was just stuck, stranded in Australia with like no income. Like, when is touring gonna happen again? Like, when can I go back to LA? Because we shut our borders in Australia. So I couldn't get back to home. And so much to process in that moment. And I also felt like the album at that point was just full of despair itself. Like, I started off writing and it was all just piano ballads about heartache and like sorrow. And I was like, this is fucked. Like, I can't, like, if it was just for me, like it's just for me, but when you're an artist, you're also communicating something to the world. And I was like, how can I release an album despair to the world when they're going through despair and we're all in this state of confusion? I just felt to wait and also to bring like a sense of shift. And so like, it was really interesting how the album kind of gave me more in that as well, waiting, because it felt like I'd been through winter and autumn, and then I went through like a summer as well. And so the album kind of works cyclically as well. It has all of those feelings. And so it's like, yeah, full season. And then what is so beautiful is that, weirdly enough, like by the time it was ready and Australia started to open their borders again, so this is like the first time I could come out, and so I was like, we got to release it like in a couple of months. And then South by was on, and then it's like spring now. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, it's such perfect timing. It feels like it's an album that comes from despair but then goes into renewal. So I was like, it's just the perfect time. It feels like the perfect time, and it feels like I'm fully through that season now. So I'm ready to give it to people. So yeah, it's just
you're sharing it on the other side.
Yeah, it feels
awesome.
Like spring. Yeah.
So cool.
This is who I am, a songwriter and a musician. So it depends on what happens with the world, on how I respond to that. Like I'm playing some shows in America, which I haven't even announced yet because it's been so busy, but New York and LA in the coming weeks. So I'll do that, and hopefully people, get to hear my beautiful album that took 10 years to make. And and I just want to keep releasing music and touring, and I'm really hoping the world is safer to do that now. So yeah.